Hey, it's Dr. Jeremy Landry. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today. We're going to talk about fat tissue, what this stuff is, how you gain more of it, most importantly, how do you get rid of it and make sure it never comes back, what's actually stored inside of here, can you turn this into lean muscle mass? You know, your friend watched a video on TikTok and they learned that you can turn this into muscle mass. Like, how does that work? Liposuction, do I recommend it? What happens if you regain weight after liposuction or cool sculpting or radiofrequency cavitation procedures where you're bursting the fat cells? There's a lot I want to talk about, and I think you'll find this video very entertaining. I think fat cells are cool, but share this video with your family and friends because I get these questions on a daily basis and I really want to talk about this. So when it comes to fat cells, you have the same number of fat cells your whole life. After adolescence, so age 18, 19, you've got 30 to 50 billion fat cells. As you gain weight, they get bigger. As you lose weight, they get smaller. So if you were to zoom in on this with a microscope, they look like little clusters of balloons or clusters of grapes. So as we're gaining weight, meaning we're eating more calories than what we're burning on a daily basis. And that is how weight loss works. You know, we don't like to admit it, but when we're being lazy, making poor food choices, very sedentary lifestyle, you have to turn those extra calories into stored energy, which is fat, which is triglycerides. Triglycerides is water, glycerol, free fatty acids. So we start taking this stuff and shoving it into those fat cells and they start to get bigger. And then we decide, okay, I've had enough of this. I hate it. I want to lose weight. We get into that calorie deficit. We're eating less calories than what we're burning on a daily basis. We're getting in our workouts. We're eating nutritious. This stuff starts to drain out. Your body begins using some of it as energy, and those fat cells get smaller in size. So they go back down to where they should be. And then where does this stuff go? When you drain triglycerides, according to the British Medical Journal, you breathe out roughly 84% of this as carbon dioxide. 16% breaks down into water, you pee it out, you sweat it out, some goes out to the digestive system. Now there's a slight exception to the rule on fat cells. If you were overweight as a child, as an adult, you have more fat cells on average versus an adult who is at a healthy weight throughout their childhood. And there's a lot of important reasons why we should get rid of the body fat. But most importantly, we want to make sure we're feeding our kids nutritious food. Sure, they're going to slip up. We're going to all have ice cream and, soda from time to time. But childhood obesity is becoming very, very prevalent. Roughly 40% of kids are overweight, and we're setting them up to have a rough future to lose weight as an adult, but also increasing the risk of different types of cancer, type 2 diabetes, and then the number one killer in North America, which is heart disease. And as an adult, if we're overweight, all those reasons are why we should do everything in our power to start getting these fat cells back down towards a normal size. And that leads into, okay, exercise. How do I turn this stuff into muscle mass? And the answer is you can't. Like I just mentioned, you have the same amount of fat cells your whole life. To build this stuff, it takes work. And you might be saying, well, that's false because, I've always had a lot of muscle mass. My best friend, is half my size. And while genetics can dictate you might have more muscle mass than somebody else, to build more of this, you still have to tear those muscle fibers in a good way, getting into the gym, doing those strength training workouts, doing high intensity interval training. But most importantly, you have to recover properly, meaning protein after your workouts, amino acids after your workouts, proper hydration after your workouts, taking rest days once or twice a week. That's how we build more of this stuff. But what we typically notice is as we're building more muscle, it's the most metabolically active part of our bodies. Therefore, we start burning more calories, draining those fat cells, making it smaller. So it looks like we're turning this into lean muscle mass. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is liposuction. I get asked a lot, do you recommend it? What are the pros? What are the cons? And my answer is that I think there's a time and a place for it. It's not a quick fix though, and quick fixes don't exist. But with liposuction, if you've had, maybe twins or multiple pregnancies or even a single pregnancy and you have a lot of loose excess skin, I think a mommy makeover, there's a time and a place for it. You definitely want to live a healthy lifestyle afterwards, but there's a time and a place for it. Maybe you had bariatric surgery and you've lost 100, 200 pounds and you have, loose, hanging, saggy skin. I definitely think there's a place for liposuction and skin tightening. But the problem with treating liposuction like a quick fix, meaning you have 20 or 30 pounds that you want to lose, you can easily get that off by changing your lifestyle. There's no reason why you should have to go have lipo, unless your doctor is recommending it for a certain reason. But if you go in there and you start sucking out fat cells, remember, you have the same number of fat cells your whole life, so once they're gone, they're gone. Let's just say you have 30 billion fat cells and they got rid of 5 billion, and then you start gaining weight again because you're not living a healthy lifestyle. This stuff has to go into the leftover 25 billion fat cells. And a lot of times it can lead to unevenness or dysmorphic fat accumulations. This is something that's pretty common with regaining weight after liposuction and cool sculpting and the radiofrequency cavitation procedures that burst fat cells. You get rid of those fat cells, yeah, they're gone, and the marketing sounds fantastic, permanently get rid of your fat, but you're gonna create more actual fat and shove it into those remaining fat cells. So I think the answer is yes, no, it really depends on what your goals are, what you've been through, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and are you gonna live a healthy lifestyle? So that about sums it up in a nutshell. One other really quick fun fact about fat cells, this is not the only stuff that's stored inside of there. You can do simple Google searches on toxins. We hear about, doing cleanses and why they're important, and then other articles that say you don't need to cleanse, but inside of your fat cells, fat tissue is kind of like bubble wrap. When we're consuming a lot of man-made chemicals, which whether you like it or not, you're breathing in, you're putting stuff on your skin. Some of those toxins you're getting out, they're water soluble, you're staying properly hydrated, you pee them right out. But the fat soluble chemicals get shoved into those fat cells to protect the body. So it's kind of like bubble wrap. And then as you start to lose weight, you make that choice to eat healthier and start losing the weight. When you're draining the triglycerides, you're technically letting go of toxins as well. And if you're eating proper nutritious food, getting in maybe some whole food nutritional supplements, it can make that detox process a lot easier. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments down below. Share this with your family and friends. I know I said that at the beginning, but we get these questions a lot. I think this stuff is so fascinating. And truthfully, I think it's easy to drain the fat cells if we make a couple simple changes. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the next video. I think you're gonna love it. It'll be coming out here in a few days. Talk to you soon.